Are the Maple Leafs on the verge of making a game-changing move? Rumours are swirling around the potential acquisition of a towering defenseman who could bring both stability and intimidation to the blue line. As the trade deadline approaches, fans are buzzing with excitement about what this could mean for our playoff aspirations. Stay tuned as we dive into the details of this intriguing speculation and what it could mean for the team. Brad Treliving is in a unique position right now, with a golden opportunity to snag a 6'5" defenseman at a bargain price. The chatter around the Maple Leafs has been buzzing as we approach the trade deadline on March 7th, and the name that keeps coming up is Carson Soucy from Vancouver. Folks, if you haven't been paying attention, this could be a game-changer for our beloved Leafs. Rumours are swirling, and it's not just a few whispers. It's a full-on chorus of speculation on how the Leafs can bolster their defensive lineup. From names like Braden Shen and Brock Nelson to the big-ticket Erik Karlsson and Noah Dobson, the stakes are high. But what if Treliving could enhance our blue line without breaking the bank? That's where Soucy comes into play. At 30 years old, Soucy brings not just size, but a physical presence that the Leafs desperately need. He stands tall at 1.95 meters, and let's be real, having a defender like him alongside Morgan Riley could transform our defensive strategy. I mean, can you picture it? Riley and Soucy forming a formidable duo that not only holds the line defensively, but also adds a bit of intimidation factor. That's the kind of grit that can make a difference in the postseason. Elliotte Friedman touched on Soucy's availability recently, suggesting that with Vancouver's new acquisitions, he's become expendable. The Canucks are in a bit of a rebuild mode, and it seems they're willing to part ways with him. Now that's where we come in. Friedman noted that Soucy might not be fitting into their plans, which could spell opportunity for Treliving and the Leafs. Statistically speaking, Soucy has had a solid season with 2 goals and 6 assists to his name, but it's his defensive stats that really stand out. With 85 blocks and 82 hits, he's proving to be a reliable defender, making smart plays without compromising on aggression. Compared to Philippe Myers and Connor Timmins, Soucy would undoubtedly elevate our defensive core. Just think about our defensive pairings, McCabe and Tanev, Riley and Soucy, Benoit with Ekman-Larsson. That's looking pretty solid, right? Now let's talk about the financial aspect. Soucy is on a manageable contract worth $3.25 million for this season and next. Now, for a top 4 defenseman, that's a steal. Treliving could potentially land him for just a 3rd-round pick, maybe even a low-tier defender thrown into the mix. It's a move that could give us stability on defense, which is something we've all been clamoring for, especially considering Treliving's own words about needing more defensive depth. But I have to ask, is this really the path we should be taking? I've got to admit, I'm a bit torn. On one hand, Soucy brings everything we need: size, experience, and a reasonable contract. On the other hand, do we risk going for someone less flashy when bigger names are floating around? It's a tough call, and I want to hear from you, the fans. What do you think? Should we pull the trigger on Soucy, or are we holding out for something more substantial? I want to hear your thoughts, so dive into the comments below and let's discuss. The trade deadline is just around the corner, and as a die-hard Toronto Maple Leafs fan, I can tell you the anticipation is palpable. We're hearing some intriguing whispers from NHL insiders that could change the dynamics of our beloved team for the better. According to Frank Seravalli from Daily Faceoff, the Leafs are looking to address a critical need for a center before the March 7 deadline. And it sounds like they may have their sights set on a familiar face, Jake Evans from the Montreal Canadiens. Now I know what you're thinking. Acquiring a player from a divisional rival is always a complicated affair, but Evans could be a game-changer for us. At just $1.7 million against the cap this season, he provides both speed and a solid defensive mindset as a third-line center. With 11 goals and 27 points in 56 games, he's not just an afterthought. He's someone who could seamlessly integrate into our lineup and provide some much-needed depth. The deal Seravalli suggests, a second-round pick in 2025 and prospect Ronnie Hirvonen heading to Montreal, might seem steep, but let's weigh the options here. Evans is a Toronto native, and that opens the door for a potential contract extension that could keep him in the blue and white for years to come. This isn't just a rental. This could be a long-term addition that solidifies our center depth. Do you think this was the best decision? Honestly, I'm torn. A second-round pick can yield future stars, but having a player who knows the pressures of playing in this city could be invaluable. Saravalli also hinted that the Leafs might miss out on some of the high-profile targets like Brock Nelson and Scott Lawton. It's a bummer, for sure. But let's not forget that sometimes the under-the-radar moves can be the most impactful. History has shown us that the big names don't always translate into success, while players like Evans can surprise and contribute in ways we didn't expect. Fans across Toronto are undoubtedly feeling the urgency as we approach the trade deadline. With the regular season on pause until the 22nd, there's a unique tension in the air. Brad Treliving has his work cut out for him, and as someone who's been through the highs and lows of this franchise, I trust he'll make the right moves, if he's active. The hope is that he can bolster our lineup without breaking the bank. This team has a core that is poised for a deep playoff run, and any strategic acquisition could be the difference between a first-round exit and a shot at the cup. But let's talk about the emotional side of this. As fans, we invest so much of ourselves into this team. Every game feels like a roller coaster, and the thought of making a meaningful addition can stir up a mix of excitement and anxiety. We've all been there, riding the highs of a big win and the lows of a crushing defeat. The stakes are high, and the emotional investment we have as fans makes every decision by management feel personal. So how does this potential move for Evans impact our chances? If he can step into that third-line role and provide some stability, it frees up our top players to focus on what they do best, putting the puck in the net. It's all about supporting the core we have in place. Imagine a playoff series where our third line is consistently chipping in goals or shutting down the opposition's top players. That's the kind of depth that wins championships. And you, what do you think? I want to hear your opinions down below. Are you excited about the possibility of acquiring Jake Evans? Do you think he can be a difference maker for us? Or do you think we should hold out for a bigger name? The comments section is open, and I can't wait to read your insights on this. Remember, folks, as we gear up for the final stretch of the season, it's crucial to stay engaged and vocal about our hopes for the team. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel to keep up with all the latest updates. Don't forget to activate the notification bell to get all the latest updates. The trade deadline is just the beginning, and together we can navigate this thrilling ride as we cheer on our Toronto Maple Leafs.